So it's a think out loud session, right?
Yes, of course it is. Pete's British.
Now, one of the things that Michael had talked about was added value. I call it adding life, because life is what brings the value, and the experience of life is what the value is. So I cheated by taking out the word value and substituting with life, because life to me was a more emotional, bigger word that we could play with. And many apps to me are like chewing gum for the eyes, right? So I've had 3 people chewing gum since we started. Many end up tasteless. Has it lost its taste? Right? But I asked them to keep chewing even when the taste had gone. And many need to be spat out. So I want you to start thinking about, is your app chewing gum for the eyes? Now, I've cheated here because there's a brilliant architect called Frank Lloyd. Brilliant, brilliant American architect. And his quote was, television is chewing gum for the eyes. And I took it and switched it. But I love this because I have maybe over the last year used about 100 apps, and I think I only have like 10 left to have any. The other 90 I was just chewing. I mean, it was just tasteless and so on. So it's really a good way to think about what you're doing here. So why do apps become tasteless? Why does this happen? Well, here he is, Frank Lloyd Wright. Great, great architect. I don't know if you know anything about this falling water in southern West. Does anybody know anything about this building? Oh, God.
I know he designed the Dallas Theater Center.
Thank you. You've saved the day. Now, what's interesting about this building is these 3 things. Because he says at the top, I want to see the site. I want to talk to the people who are using it. Right? So I want you to start thinking about apps in this way. Think about this building as an app for the moment. And he went against the laws of engineers would fought him on this cantilever thing that goes out. It was one of the first things he built in concrete, designed in 1935, built in 36, 37, was used as a weekend home. I think it's one of his greatest masterpieces. This is me saying this, not the world. Dynamism is kind of like a philosophical sensibility about the building. It's not dynamic as in, go and power figures. It's more about the philosophy of life and how he approached it. The other thing I love about this is he integrated it with nature. Most people wouldn't build a building over a waterfall. They would set it back, turn it around so you face the waterfall. This was incredibly brave to kind of go against what was perceived at the time as the way to do architecture. And here's the best part. And I want you to think about apps in this way. All the bedrooms were built small. Now, they weren't just small this way, they were small this way. Why? And this is where I think you guys can start to interact better and steer people. It got them outside. I don't want to stay in my bedroom, I want to get out. And people don't think this way. They just think, well, I need a bedroom to sleep in. Yes, that was his point, but he purposely put low ceilings, I think in all of them apart from the master bedroom, so he would encourage people to get into the outdoors and interact with it. Because look at that. I don't know if you know the area, but it's just beautiful. It's just a gorgeous place to have. And it's user experience at its best. The user is not only being forced out of the bedroom into life and the surrounding area and the bigger, because some of the windows are all glass. He's also adding value to people's lives. Interacting with nature, not destroying nature, making it a place special, somewhere you want to visit. Think app again. I want to visit my app. I want to have a good experience. That's what he did. And he fought the laws of science. He actually walked off the job. He came to look at the building being constructed. The engineers have started to kind of reinforce it. So you could see stuff from that overhanging cantilever. And he just rolled up the plans and walked away. And the owner went running after him and saying, stop, stop, stop. He's like, no, this is how I want it. I want it to look beautiful as much as I want it to be practical. And that's one of the things you guys have a reputation for, is that if I open up the hood, everything sparkles as well as the surface. And that's what he was about. It wasn't just, because most of the construction is holding this thing up you can't see. It cost $75,000 to build, which is the equivalent of about $2.5 million today. But it cost $12.5 million to renovate 5 years ago.
Will people recognize Pete with shorter hair?
Well, if all else fails, he does have that accent.